Okay, so I want to hop in before I started the video to let you know a couple things. One, this is going to be a new format. I'm going to improve on the editing and the format of it as I go along. New videos will be coming down the pipeline, maybe monthly, relatively soon. The rest of this year is just experimental trial, and then we'll touch base at the beginning of next year. Two, happy Halloween. Hopefully, this episode makes it before then. And I chose this topic for two reasons. One, skeletons and Halloween related, because why not? And two, more importantly than that, the beer bro decided to get me out of retirement by making me do something Ninja related. I'll have that linked at the end of the video. But I also chose this topic to remind our Lord and Savior Beardy, you still owe us a playthrough of Undertale on Pacifist. You gotta do that crap live on Twitch. Why do I keep bringing it up? Because you haven't done it yet, and because it's easy way to make fun of him. Anyway, I know he's busy like the rest of us, so keep at it, Beardy. You'll get to it eventually, and let's just hop into the video. Before I do a deep dive on Sans, what I want to do is get the surface level stuff out of the way, so that way we can have it in the back of our brains. Besides, it sort of feeds into his character overall in general. So, what is Sans known for? One, he's very comical. Evidence of this is really, literally, when you first meet him in the game, as well as the fact that he pulls a bunch of pranks and, most importantly, lots and lots of puns. Two, he is very, very friendly with a lot of people, especially in Grilby's. A lot of people really, really adore just Sans' presence and stuff of that nature. And despite his friends really giving him a rough time, he does have a lot of friends towards the end of the game, especially showcasing the final battle with a Flowey, as well as just the fact that he adores his brother. Like, this is shown tremendously that he adores his brother. And what's even more important is he's lazy. And this is showcased just him sleeping on the job. Everyone's saying he's lazy. He takes breaks at work when he works multiple jobs. I don't know, stuff like that. I have no idea. Apparently taking breaks is lazy. And he does have a couple serious moments too. Not too often, especially during the normal playthroughs, but twice in particular. The first time you meet him when he's like, turn around, dude, so he does his prank. And then the other time when he's telling you a little more about why he looked over you, saying, "You dead, son." Of course, he's a little more serious at the very end of the game, but we can talk more about that later. He's also serious during another part of the game, but again, we'll get into that a little later as well. So, with Sans, we established that he's comical, he's lazy, as well as the fact that he's very friendly with people. Now, might I ask, does his character go down further than that? Well, it does. At the end of the game, he sort of judges you for your actions. Now, you may be thinking, why in the holy mother of heck is Sans, this comical being, judging us for our actions? Well, it turns out he knows a lot more than he's letting on. How so? Because A, he knows about your save state in the alternate timelines, and B, he tried to do something about it. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is a little bit of a theory part, but makes sense in my head, so maybe someone else will agree. And also, I am throwing Gaster out of the table only because that doesn't really affect Sans as a character, at least in the thing I'm going to propose. And no, Sans is not Ness. Yet. Okay, that's the one and only joke I do, I swear. So, Sans somehow discovers that there's multiple timelines. Whether it be through something with the scientists, whether it be Gaster or not is irrelevant. He finds out about the timelines. He tries to do something about it. And turns out it doesn't really work. So he goes through an existential crisis. I want to say it's more towards the 7 stages of grief, because in the end he ends up accepting his hand. He knows that, hey, the timeline, no matter what I do, everything will be reset, and I'm in a Groundhog's Day loop. So what I'm going to do, instead of being sad and whatever, is that I'm going to be as happy as I can and just be the best self I can be, so that way I can make my friends as happy as possible. Now, there's a few evidence of him not really being sad, like another video I saw a while ago, at least when the game first came out. One, if he was really sad and lazy because he lost all motivation for everything, why does he own a treadmill? And I have to personally ask, what lazy guy owns a treadmill? Why does he have a job? I'm dead serious. Why would he have a job? If I was a depressed, lazy dude, I would be in my room, in my bed, just sleeping all day with nothing to do. But obviously, he has a little more under the hood than just, oh, me sad. No. Despite the fact that he knows that his existence amounts to nothing, he still gets up, interacts with people, and more specifically than that, tries to make other people happy. I mean, evidence of this is just the fact that he's so liked at Grilby's. Evidence is the fact that he adores his brother despite him even stuff that's sarcastic and can come off as insults or actually can also be interpreted as compliments. Even more specific than that, he still follows you on your journey even when most characters don't. They see you once and then you wait for them to interact with you later. Like Papyrus, for instance. He calls you at random times saying, hey, by the way, blah, blah, blah. Undyne eventually goes to join Papyrus. Alphys watches you but doesn't interact with you on the first half of the journey. Then the last half is like, you gotta go do this thing. Whereas Sans actually follows you the entire time, lighting up the mood with his pranks, jokes, puns, stuff like that. Sure, there's a hint in that of serious moments, but most of the time it's just jokes. And the line that sort of cements this for me, the fact that he does all this for his friends despite not knowing, is because he tries to convince you to stay down here with all the friends you make. And with that line right there, that just gives a whole new meaning to me in terms of why Sans does what he does. However, everything changes when you decide to go on the genocide route. All of his friends, the people that he got up every day to interact with and make their days better, are gone. Including the person he adores most, his brother. At that point, something inside of him just snaps. He lets the serious side of him fully consume him to the point when you meet him at the final part of the game, he's out for a fight. And Sans is not one looking for a fight, but he is aware of the timelines. He doesn't really want to go back to the surface. What he wants is for this timeline to be reset. That is what he's fighting for, and that's why he takes on the most impossible task that even Undyne couldn't defeat. You. After a few rounds of dodging, maybe getting hit once or twice, and maybe having a bad time, he pleads with your humanity. If you choose to accept, it shows that you have not been completely consumed by vengeance and violence. Takes you out the only way he knows how and says to not come back. Which makes sense because he wants the timeline to reset. So maybe if he just says don't come back for our sake, maybe that would help. But deep down, we know that you're too determined to go back. You load back in, give it another go, and you get to the part where Sans breaks all RPG logic and says, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of his friends, to make sure his friends don't suffer anymore, to make sure you just get up and leave and reset, he stops the game entirely. He says, you're not going to get your turn. And when you try to take your turn while he's away, just teleports you back. Infinite loop. He decided to trap you like you've trapped him. But eventually, that battle gets to him. Gets tired, falls asleep. You break all conventions by moving the actual box, slay him, and finally connect a hit. He gets up, looks at you, says, I warned you, goes off screen, and then dies with his last thought being the person he admired most, his brother. To me, Sans is someone that represents the best friend this game could ever had. He went out of his way every day to make other people's days just a little bit better, despite knowing that everything he does would amount to nothing in the end. He decided to act lazy to give someone a spectacle to laugh at. He decided to make puns because he knew someone would laugh. Toriel is an example. He cherished and loved his brother more than anything because he realized he had something is better than nothing. And even on the brink of you trying to ruin it all, he tries to save you from the worst fate of all, not being able to actually have a happy ending. He doesn't mind the fact that you go through the game multiple times and get multiple endings. He minds when he loses all of his friends, including you. And I believe that is why everyone's connected so well with Sans. And that's what I think about Sans, or more or less just my personal opinion. I mean, there are many different ways of interpreting characters, and Sans is definitely one where it can be interpreted different ways. For instance, I saw a video sort of describe him as a moral compass, which makes a lot of sense. He does change his attitude and his characteristics depending on which route you go down. So that's an interesting way of looking at it too. So if you guys have a different way of viewing Sans, let me know in the comment section down below. If you're waiting for him to be in Smash, he should already be in it. If you want him to be in, I don't know, Tekken, leave a comment down below. And I guess I gotta say, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for more videos, like the video and comment to get my video out there, and that's about it. That's all I got. Have an awesome day. Tune in next time.